ahead and get started. It's a little after 11. Thank you all for coming. This is our first symposium for the fall semester, and we have with us today, she's a great speaker and very dynamic, Ms. Julia Bolt. She is the Assistant Director of the Brick Street Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at WVU, but the reason she's here is she's also the director?
Assistant director.
Well,
yeah.
She facilitates and is in charge of the West Virginia Business Plan, Collegiate Business Plan Competition, and that's what she's here to talk to you all about today. So, welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so of everybody that came in, other than you, everybody's a business major? Okay. That's a good thing. We want business majors. Okay, so how many of you have actually heard of the business plan competition other than seeing the flyers around campus? Okay, awesome. So that's where I know where to begin. All right, so the business plan competition is an annual competition. This is our 11th year being a statewide initiative. It is run out of WVU and it's run out of the business school at WVU, but it is a statewide initiative. It is the opportunity for you as a full-time student in the state of West Virginia to win $10,000 to start a for-profit business here in the state. It has to be a for-profit business. It has to be in the state of West Virginia. Now that kind of scares you, right? Because you're like, what if I want to leave the state after I graduate? The business has to be registered in the state. That does not mean it has to stay here. The whole goal is for it to be an economic development here in the state of West Virginia. So obviously we want it here, but that doesn't mean that you cannot expand to other states. The way the competition works is, yes, I give away $10,000. I actually give away 30. There are 3 categories that I give away $10,000 in each category. The categories are hospitality and tourism, lifestyle and innovation, and STEM. Who doesn't know, and seriously be honest, who doesn't know what STEM stands for? Okay, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So your technology, engineering kind of things. The way I explain it is, if your business that you are thinking about starting is a hospitality and tourism, can fall into the hospitality tourism category or can fall into the STEM category, absolutely put it in those categories, because lifestyle and innovation is the big bucket category. So everything that doesn't fall into those 2 categories falls into that category. So if you have a hospitality, tourism, or STEM, you might be only competing against 20 or 30 other businesses, where lifestyle and innovation, you could be competing against 100, 150 other businesses. So you have more of a chance to move on in the rounds. The first submission is due on October 14th at noon. It is a hard deadline of noon. The way you submit your first round submission is through this website, which I know you can't really see it, but it's be.wvu.edu/bpc. And I have cards on the table that have the website on it. All you do is submit online. You'll go to this big orange button that says enter online, and you'll enter online. It is a template. All I'm looking for in the first round is your idea. How are you going to finance it? What's your idea to begin with? What's the business name? Now, whatever your business name is for the first round, you're not stuck on that. You don't have to come up with that brand new business name, and that's what you are stuck in. That's what you're registered as from throughout the competition. You can change it. Almost every single one of my finalists last year has changed the name of their competition or name of their business, because one of them, for instance, she couldn't get the trademark licensing on her business. So you will enter your business name, the idea, who your competitors are, what your market is, how are you going to market, how are you going to finance it, or at least how you think you're going to finance it. Do you need investors? Do you have your own money? Do you have family that's going to support you? What those finances look like. Each line is only a couple sentences. This is really your 30,000 feet high level, I've got an idea, I'm going to throw it out there. That is all I'm asking. Because if you are really thinking of owning your own business, and you have all these ideas, and you can enter in multiple ideas. My graduate assistant, he's entering in 3 ideas right now. He's working on some others as well. You can enter in as many ideas. I don't always recommend that, because I really want you to focus on one, because you don't want to spread yourself too thin. So when you enter in the idea, this is going to be the first time that somebody tells you either, that's not a good idea, or that's a great idea, but the way you're going about it is not necessarily the way you should go about it. So why don't we think about something else? because I have judges from all over the country who are looking at your submissions, and they will give you honest feedback. They will say, great idea, how about we think about this? Or, that's not a great idea, which is why you don't move into the second round. That sounds super negative, right? Because I'm here to pump you up to get you ready to join the business plan competition. The reason I say that is because if you were thinking about running a business, this is going to be the first time that all you get told is no. And your next idea might be the better idea. If you look at most entrepreneurs, their first idea is not the idea that they won with, and not the idea that they have made a successful business on. And I think there's some story, and I can totally get it wrong and numbers wrong, but like, I think Bill Gates had 100 different ideas before he came up with Microsoft. So, I mean, it's not going to be your first idea. However, most entrepreneurs, when they start a business, they lose a lot of money. They have to put a lot of money forth on this great idea that they have. This is the only opportunity where you're going to get told, maybe this isn't a great idea. However, this might launch you into another great idea. If you watch this video on here, it shows two different people. One, he won the competition. One, she did not. I use the girl as an example all of the time because she did not win the competition, but through the competition, she figured out a better way to run her business. The way she had planned was not going to be successful. Today, she now has a very successful business selling women's clothing with collegiate women clothing. So there's a company called University Girl Apparel. I recommend you go Google it. She has over 30 trademark licenses and runs the business out of her parents' home. Her parents actually work for her. She travels the world working with vendors where her parents are sitting at home stuffing the boxes and getting her shipments out to her customers. WVU is one of the hardest trademark licenses to receive. That was the first license she received, and she's been able to expand from there. She has a whole market of female clothing because she saw that as a possibility of something new, because most WVU clothing is not female related. So I use her as an example. Because of the competition, she now has a successful business, and she didn't win the $10,000. Once you submit your idea, and the judges give you feedback, there's about 200 submissions in the first round. The second round drops to 30. We have 10 in each category. The semifinals are face-to-face interview and elevator pitch. You will submit a feasibility study right the week before the face-to-face. Then you will come to Concord University and you will do a face-to-face, what we like to call speed dating. So you will sit with one-on-one with a judge and they will ask you questions. The judge will then, you have a 10-minute overall with them, and then you go to the next judge. 10 minutes. Next judge, 10 minutes. Then you get up and do a 2-minute elevator pitch in front of the entire room. So all the other competitors, the judges of all the categories, all of that is happening here. So you all have a great opportunity to be here and not have to travel. Like I left Morgantown this morning. So I left at 7 o'clock this morning to get here. And we've got to travel, our WVU students have to travel on a bus. Think if you're coming from West Liberty or Wheeling Jesuit. They've got to travel a lot farther. You guys are right here. All you got to do is wake up in the morning and stroll down here. That is a great opportunity. Let's say you don't get into the semifinals. Still come. How many of you are seniors? Okay. How many of you are going to graduate school? Okay. So I was going to say, if you do not get into the second round, I still recommend you come. Because it's, at least in the luncheon portion, it's open to the public, so you can kind of see what other people are doing. This helps you, once again, one of the reasons this competition is so successful and we're in our 11th year is because we have just as many successful businesses that do not win this competition, but that go through it because of the experience you will receive. I like to ram that into the ground because the resources and the experience that you receive through this competition will exceptionally exceed the $10,000 winnings. After the semifinals, we have the finals. The finals is writing the full 30-page business plan. Scary, right? That's only going to happen until April. The finals are not till April. The semifinals are Veterans Day. They're in November. So you have from November to April to write that business plan. In January, you come to Morgantown, and we do a workshop with you. We set you up with a legal team. We set you up with a financial team. We set you up with a marketing team, all of which will help you write that business plan. On top of which, in this competition, if you need help, We are here to help you. I am an open book. You can ask me any questions. If I don't have the answer, I will find the answer for you. WVU has just opened a campus in Beckley. We have what's called the Launch Lab. The Launch Lab is a student-based center where we have small business coaches and faculty who work with students to help them develop their business. When you go back and look at the past winners, you will see WVU has a high number of the winners. Now, one of the reasons is because they submit over half of the submissions because we are such a large institution. But that's not going to happen this year. But they also have the Launch Lab. They work with the Launch Lab to walk them through their financials from the get-go. So when you submit that first round, they're already ahead of the game because they've sat with a business coach. You have that ability as well. We have opened up because we don't think it's fair, at least I don't think it's fair, so I kind of put it in place. I don't think it's fair that WVU has these resources that no one else does. That's not fair. It's not even competition. So we've opened up our Launch Lab to anyone who wants to participate. They have a Launch Lab in Beckley. No, you don't want to drive to Beckley. Totally understand. They can do it via the phone, as well as there's this group called The Hive. It is a small business incubator, and the guy who runs The Hive is part of the New River Gorge Development Authority. They have places all over the southern part of the state, and he is working with the Launch Lab in Beckley to help run it and help facilitate it. They are there to help you. So I want to stress that immensely. If you are thinking about entering this competition, reach out to me so I can connect you with people because I don't want you to be on your own. Also utilize the faculty here at Concord. You guys have an exceptional faculty that are here to help you start your businesses. Some of them are business owners themselves, and they know what it's like. And so I would recommend reaching out to them. Do not hesitate. I say that in anything. I tell my students all the time, do not hesitate to reach out to faculty because at least in where I work, everybody has an open door policy. So if you ever have questions, you go and visit them. Doesn't matter what the question is, they'll find out for you. I recommend that. I recommend reaching out to people. Don't do this on your own. Let's say you want to do a computer science business, but you're not sure if you have the business mindset behind it. Team up with one of the business students. Work with them to get, let's say, a marketing strategy behind it. I always use marketing as my background because that's my background. I always use that as my example. I recommend teaming up. We are actually doing that at WVU, where we're teaming up students with business students because the majority of the winners are from our agriculture and our engineering school. They're not from our business school. We never have students enter from the business school. We don't know why. We're trying to change that. So we're teaming up kids from the engineering and agriculture school with our business students. So let's say one of you has a great business idea and one of you thinks you have a great business idea, or you're just here because you want to help somebody else out or have a friend who wants to help you out. We had that last year where here at Concord there was a student who was an international student who knew she was leaving at the end of December. You only have to be a full-time student in the fall semester, even though the finals are in the spring. She was leaving. She teamed up with a classmate who would be her representative if she made it to the finals. You can team up with people. One of our winners from last year had a teammate, but they had she knew going into the whole competition that it would be a sole proprietorship. So it was the one girl's business, and she just had somebody helping her out. Because you want to have people helping you out. You want other people's ideas. Because you're going to think about it when you're running your business. You can't do it all on your own. You need your team. You need the people who work for you. Same concept goes into writing this idea. Use the resources. Enter the competition because the resources that you get more money out of the resources than you will out of the actual $10,000. The $10,000 is kind of for me to just get you. I mean, it's helpful. It's money. Everybody wants money. But you also want the resources because then it's going to connect you with people. 2 years ago, we technically had 4 winners. We had 3 winners, 1 in each category. One of the judges saw a team, invested in that team. He said, I see the value in you. I'll invest $10,000 in you. And he did. We actually have had that happen multiple times. But that business is now a successful brewing business here in the state of West Virginia. So that's kind of my spiel. I know it's kind of all over the place. It's a whole lot of information. Does anybody have any questions that you're thinking of now? Because I'm here on campus today. I'm probably not going to be back until the semifinals. So this is your opportunity to ask me now. as opposed to just asking via email. Did you have a question? Okay. No? Nobody's got questions? I normally require my students to answer questions. I won't let you leave until you ask me questions.
Well, better speak up.
What's hard?
Are any of you serious about submitting a proposal? How many are thinking about it?
Can I submit a proposal that they're already kind of running a business, sort of?
Yep, as long as you have not made $25,000 in profit. And it has to be for profit, because if we get into nonprofit, it turns into a different ballgame. Is anybody like super confused?
Don't want to admit it.
I'm telling you, I'm the easiest speaker you'll ever have, because I actually,
Yeah, she is.
I will actually answer any question you have. I answer I will tell you my background is not business. Like I said, my background is in marketing. I'm a public relations marketing expert. I kind of fell into the business side of things because I've been what you like to call an entrepreneur, where a lot of businesses are looking, Google, Apple, Walmart actually, they're all looking for entrepreneurs because they want people to have different kinds of ideas. So I'm what you like to call an entrepreneur, where I don't necessarily want to own my own business, but I want to help the business that I work for grow. So I come up with crazy ideas all the time. So I'd say you can ask me kind of any questions about that, my background. Y'all got nothing? Are y'all just like super nervous because it's like the second week of school? Yeah.
How about some for instances of the kinds of things? I know you gave the categories.
Yep.
But specific examples of some of
Okay.
these.
So I will.
Give people an idea.
We three businesses that won last year. The hospitality and tourism business was an aquaponics hydroponics business. So they're from the University of Charleston, and they were trying to figure out different ways to expand our agriculture here in the state. I can't tell you much more about it because it's not my background. That's one thing I don't know much about is aquaponics, hydroponics. I'm trying to learn a good bit about it. But that's kind of a business. They're just finishing their operating agreement. They're already testing it in one of their locations in Charleston. So they're in the process of being successful. The lifestyle and innovation category was a girl. She actually just sent me last night. She just finished her operating agreement, and she not only did she get, so the way our winnings work is there's benchmarks. You have to establish your business. You have to write an operating agreement. And then that's how you kind of get it. You don't just get $10,000 and say, here you go, see you later. So she just sent me her operating agreement last night. Not only did she get our winnings, she also gained another $5,000. Her business, she was a Division I soccer player for WVU, but wanted to focus on her academics. So she was an engineering student, and she needed another elective, took an entrepreneurship class, thought of doing an app. So how many of you played sports as a child? How many of you played soccer as a child? Okay, how many of you, how many of you had your parents or somebody's dad or mom coach you as a kid? Okay, so she's created an app to kind of connect all of that. So if you're new to the area and you want your child to play some kind of sports, she's doing soccer because obviously that's her background, that's what she knows. So if let's say I moved to Athens and I want my child to play soccer, I can get on this app and it can tell me where there's soccer teams in here and soccer leagues. If I'm a coach and my child is playing soccer and I have no idea how to teach it. I mean, I watched it. I know there's 90 minutes with extra time, but I have no idea how to train them and do tutorials with them. It will give them tutorial videos on how to train the kids so they're not just running around in a circle following the ball trying to get it to the goal. She has set that up so that it provides links to different people, links to different leagues, as well as tutorial videos for coaches. She's teamed up with coaches in the area in Morgantown. She's also from Alabama, so she's teamed up with teams down there to make this app more feasible to the U10 and younger ages. She eventually wants to expand into the older ages as well as other sports. She's just using soccer as her first because that's what she knows. The third business in the STEM category, I did this in front of the entire faculty here at Concord. How many of you are terrified of needles? I am terrified of needles. Absolutely terrified. This girl, and this is the one that was a sole proprietorship but teamed up with another girl, she created a cover for syringes. They look like ladybugs, caterpillars, all kinds of different things, so that when a syringe is being shown to a child, or like myself, an adult, it covers the syringe so it makes it less terrifying. None of those things, I mean, an app and the hydroponics are something that's very invasive. The syringe is not something that's that invasive. She literally figured out how to make a cover to go on top of a syringe. She can patent that because she's figured out a certain way to do it. But it's not that crazy of an idea. She was literally terrified of needles and said, I hate looking at syringes. I do this when I'm sitting in the doctor's office. What can I do to save that from me? And she won $10,000 doing it. She's actually the farthest along of all three of our businesses. She's already in the product. So those are the three businesses that won last year that are vastly different. We had a kid who is making maple syrup. And he was a freshman who made it to the finals last year, and he's figured out how to make maple syrup. Another kid has figured out how to make honey. Another kid from the University of Charleston, his business ended up he is still moving forward with the business and has significantly other funding. He did not make it through the competition because his business was so vast, and it's a multi-million-dollar business. He's from Thurmond, up near Fayetteville, and he has worked on a railroad company. His father was in the railroad business, and he got money and some land, and he's figured out how to make the Thurmond railroad business a tourism spot. And he's working, and he has all these different pieces that go to it. He has taken on a huge, like I said, multi-million-dollar idea, and he's working for it. We thought it was a little too big. He needed to kind of narrow his thoughts, and him and I have actually talked about it since the competition because that was why he didn't move on. And he said, I agree. I have kind of brought it in to kind of do a smaller tourism focus on Thurmond, and then he's going to expand that business out, as opposed to he was trying to go the whole 9 yards. Trying to think of some other businesses. We have a team, the guy who won a couple years ago. As you know, we did not get Uber until this year. So he created a business that's called W Safe Ride. So obviously in Morgantown, we have a significant amount of DUIs and drunk drivers. So he created a business, and originally when it started, it was a collapsible bike. So one of the reasons people drunk drive is because they don't want to leave their car downtown, especially Morgantown, and get towed. We have a lot that clears out all the vehicles at 2 o'clock in the morning by the bars. You don't want to leave your car downtown, but you're too drunk to drive it. So what are you going to do? Well, you call up Eric. He will come, ride his little bike down to the bars in Morgantown, pick you up in your car, put his collapsible bike in the trunk of your car, drive you and your car home, get back on his bike, and go back downtown. That's how he started. He now has a full taxi cab business. He has hired other people who actually do, he still does that, but he has other people who drive actual cars that are painted with W Safe Ride on the side, and they go do a taxi service and pick people up. As for a long time, until this year, we did not have a real taxi service in Morgantown, which is one of the reasons our DUIs were so high. So he did this 4 years ago, and so he kind of saw a market, and he went for it. Now he has a successful business. He's one of the 3 taxi cab companies in the city. We had a girl who started a horse company. She loved to ride horses. Figured out she could have a horse barn that people needed a location to bring their horses. So she created a farm for people to bring and store their horses. Andrew White, who's the other person in this video, he loved to play the guitar. In the process of learning to love to play the guitar and wanting to know what he wanted to do with the rest of his life, he was like, why don't I make them? So he went under an apprentice, figured out how to make them. now sells guitars for thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. And his office is on High Street in Morgantown. I'm trying to think if I can think of any others. Some of these are winners, some of these are not. That's kind of the like I said, the plus of this competition is it puts you out there. It puts that crazy idea you have out there. And because it might not be that crazy. You might think it's crazy, but you might not be that crazy. If you have a friend who has a crazy idea. That's another thing. Let's say you have friends that go to other schools. Like I'm going to be at Bluefield State later this afternoon. If you have a friend who goes to Bluefield State, you guys can team up. As long as you're a full-time student in the state of West Virginia, it does not have to be in your major. It doesn't have to be at your school. You can team up with friends all over the state. As long as you're both full-time in the fall semester. Yeah?
But what percentage of the new businesses actually make it?
It's a good question. I don't actually know the actual answer to that because we have seen that it's hard to track because they change their names or they change their business idea. I would guess between 50 to 75%. And that might not, and I say that because that sounds really high. That is not necessarily the business they entered with. They very well can leave with a different business or they've become successful with something different. That's another thing. I had a kid who did not win, and he's from Glenville State, but he's from Baltimore, and I guess pit beef is a big thing in Baltimore. And
We're on that one. I was
yeah.
there.
And so he has a business. That's right. I forgot you're from Glenville State. He set up a sandwich shop down the street from Glenville State campus, and he sells. His sister works with him, and his dad works for him, and so he sells sandwiches and other sandwiches and sides to the local community in Glenville. I've eaten it. It's very good. I think it's awesome that he is making money off of the other institution, how many of you have ever been to Atlanta? How many of you have ever heard of the Varsity in Atlanta? Okay, so the Varsity was a business that the guy got kicked out of Georgia Tech. If you ever go to Atlanta, go to the Varsity, get an FO. It's called Frosted Orange. I'm originally from Atlanta. It's the best. It's got the best onion rings you'll ever eat in your life. He got kicked out of Georgia Tech, and so he was like, you know what? If I get kicked out, I'm going to make money off the students. So he built a business across the I-85. He's had a successful business for, I don't know, 60 years, something like that. But yeah, this kid, he decided to stay in Glenville, and when I was there a year ago, he was thinking about moving up to Morgantown to expand his business there and try, because we don't really have any local sandwich shops in Morgantown. We have a lot of Subways and pita pits. But yeah, so that was another business that's successful today that didn't win. Any questions yet, guys? Who doesn't have a crazy idea? Who doesn't think that they're going to start a business? My GA, he says, once you get that entrepreneurship, he's been the president of our entrepreneurship club since he was a sophomore, and now he's a graduate student. He says all the time, once you get that entrepreneurship bug, you'll never let it go. He has ideas. Like I said, he's entering 3 ideas this year. He has ideas nonstop. He says if you want one, his idea, he tells people all the time, you want one of my ideas? As long as you give me 5% of the profits later on, I'm fine with it. Because I can't make every business successful. He's like, I got to work. He knows he's got to focus on one. And he has one particular one that he's really interested in. He's originally from Beckley. He's thinking about, now that WVU Beckley is on campus, he's thinking about bringing a business down to WVU Beckley and coming back home. That was not the original business he had last year. So he's kind of entering in both ideas, seeing which one sticks. Yeah. I mean, you can do an event planning business. That's what I'm really good at. I mean, whatever you're passionate about, enter it. Throw it out there. See if it sticks. The whole idea of this competition is to really make that idea and people help you make it, see if it's feasible. See if you can actually make it a sustainable business. And if not, what else can you do? I mean, this is, like I said, this is the only opportunity that you put no money forth in your crazy idea. Put forth 10 crazy ideas. Yeah.
So let's say you put 3 ideas, would you get feedback for each one of your ideas?
Absolutely.
And you can do an app.
Yes.
Then-
And we have coders. Although I've told him he can't code for you, because I've had a coder who does that in the past. We have people that teach classes. I don't know, Concord might have the same thing too. That you have professors who know how to code or know how to do app work. Because I will tell you that apps are great ideas. They also cost a lot of money. You don't think they cost a lot of money? They do. I was amazed at how much they cost, some of them. So, but yeah, absolutely, apps are 100%. We get a lot of those. I mean, we are expecting about 200 submissions this year. But that said, that's a scary number. And like I said, that goes from 200 to 30. That's scary, right? Because that's a big drop off. But you got to think there are classes. There's a school that requires in their freshman level marketing class that every single student, all 80 of them, enter. So how many of you think that of the 80 are going to make it into the second round if they are required and they have to team up with a classmate as well, who they've never met before and don't get to pick their classmate? They don't do well. So, and my judges continually say, why do you sometimes feed us stuff like that? And I say, because these are these kids throwing out crazy ideas. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to take on their crazy ideas and see if they're feasible. So even though that number looks large, you also know that you're competing against, not so great businesses. But then you're also competing against some really good businesses. But those are the ones that shine and move on. And our investors, like I said, they do come back. And I've told the faculty, we don't say, okay, on April 14th after the final, see you later, goodbye, have a good day. That's not how we work. I want your business to be successful. I want to keep you in contact. I've only been in this job for a little over a year, so that's something that we've not been doing in the past. So now we're trying to pick that back up and kind of keep involved and know what our kids are doing. I always check in on my finalists. I check in on the kids who won to see where they are, see if they've decided, because some of these kids have decided they don't want to do it. So don't think that once the competition's over, we're done with you. We want to keep you, the whole idea, economic development in the state of West Virginia, making our students successful. That's the whole reason I have money to do this. So yeah.
And their first submission is just their idea.
Mhm.
It's only like a 2 to 3 page
Yep.
paper, so
Yep.
it's not like
Nothing
you're not
crazy.
throwing a lot out there. So.
You will not have to submit that 30-page business plan on your own. So don't let that scare you. I also recommend there is what's called a business model canvas. That is what the Launch Lab uses. That's what we use to help you start working through that business idea. Google it. If you Google business model canvas, it's a 1-page document it's like an outline for the business plan. There's tutorials on it. There's a video on it. It kind of helps you walk through your idea. I talk about it all the time that we had a professor, we were working on a program. It's an educational program, and we were using it as like a walkthrough. And he thought that students were his market and his customers. But in reality, at first he thought the teachers were his customers, and then he realized that the teachers were his partners, and he needed the teachers to get to his actual customer, who are the students. Well, if you write a 30-page business plan, that's 10 pages in. So you've already written 10 pages talking about how teachers are your customers, and you're like, oh man, students are my customers. Now I've written 10 pages. And then you just want to throw everything out the window and pretend like this doesn't exist, and you're angry and you leave. And where with a business model canvas, all you gotta do is erase it. It's a 1-page document. You just erase it and move it to another box. It's something that makes that crazy idea kind of make more sense on paper. I recommend just Googling it. The Launch Lab walks you through it. The Hive uses it. Yeah, we use it. It's kind of an easy. So if you Google it, there's like a 2-minute, 3-minute video. I recommend watching that video and this video. There are 6 minutes total. It didn't take too long. You guys watch enough of those on Instagram and Vine and stuff. So I'm pretty sure all my stories on Snapchat are at least 3 or 4 minutes long. All right. Any questions? Have I convinced anybody to submit? Okay. I'd just like to point out, I don't even know if they know this, but if Concord gets 25 submissions, they get $2,500.
They're extra free.
That's money for your institution, which means money for you.
And make sure, again, we have the semifinals here. There'll be about, how many judges will be here?
There are 30 judges,
There's
10 in each
30
category.
30 judges and another networking opportunity. The afternoon portion of the competition is open to the public, so maybe you're thinking about submitting, but maybe not this year, you want to see a little bit more. You can go and hear those 2-minute elevator pitches of all those 30 semifinals, and then, you know, because they'll be doing this again next year, so it's not like you can't, but you can submit, there's no one, you can submit every year, can't you?
Yep. And you can submit the same idea every year right
You
now.
might get a
so-
little feedback and build it and then resubmit it.
Yep. Any more questions, guys?
There's cards up there with the website, and I guess they can, is your contact on there, or they just go to the
My
website?
card's up there too.
And Julia's cards are up there, so.
Okay, a timeline, if we submit, then when is the next step happen?
So submission is October 14th. I let you know on October 21st if you've made it. From October 21st to November.
11th.
No.
Fourth is what I've got.
Yeah, November 4th is feasibility study, because that's why I was like, what's 7 days from November? November 4th is when your feasibility study, so that's 3 weeks you had to get the feasibility study in. I would recommend kind of already starting working on that, just because in the process of doing the idea, you're already starting thinking about that anyway, so it's an easy transition. And then the semifinals are the 11th. And then I let you know, I had it set to let you know when the finals on December 6th, just because that's our last day of school. So I wanted to make sure, but I plan on, it doesn't take me that long to figure out the scores. So I'll probably let you know before then. But I at least gave myself a deadline. So if I don't let you know by that day, you can start yelling, because I have faculty members who do that. So yeah. No questions? Okay. I'm glad you guys asked some.
Got a couple questions. Okay, well, thank you all. Make sure you get cards, and again, like she said, any way we can help you, check with your instructors. I know Angela, Miss Adair is teaching our entrepreneurship class, so she's our person to ask some questions, of course, any of us. So.
Thank you.
Dr.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We obviously.
Oh, that's so fun. You know, if I had a